Hello and welcome to Mediabistro.com's Media Beat. I'm Alex Wepper, the editor of Sports Newser, and I'm joined today by Stephen A. Smith, a sports columnist, radio host, TV personality.
How you doing?
Stephen, thanks for coming.
My pleasure to be here. How you doing?
I'm very well. So earlier this year, you signed a new deal with ESPN. You're going to be contributing to ESPN.com. You're doing a radio show twice. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing there.
I was at 1050 ESPN Radio for 3 years, from April of 2005 to April of 2008 at that time. Pretty much decided to step away. For 18 months I was doing that while being an NBA analyst, while being a columnist for the Philadelphia Inquirer, while hosting my own television show, quite frankly. In all honesty, work-wise I did my thing, but personally, health-wise, I bit off a bit more than I could chew. And I felt the need to step away from it because at that time I didn't have the level of appreciation for radio that I have now. Once I stepped away from it, I missed it immensely because even though television is the magnet and what have you, the reality is that radio affords you the opportunity to really pontificate and elaborate extensively.
Now you're doing 2 radio shows a day now, focused on New
2
York.
hours, 2 hours for 1050 ESPN New York, or they like to say ESPN New York 1050 now. I do that from 7 to 9 p.m. every weeknight whenever the New York Knicks are not playing.
Right.
And then immediately after that, I'm on 710 ESPN LA doing 6 to 8 time slot whenever the Lakers are not playing. So it's basically 7 to 9 East Coast time and then 9 to 11 East Coast time. 2 hours in New York, 2 hours in LA, 2 largest media markets in the country. I mean, it's just an exciting time for me right now.
Definitely. Are there any thoughts of maybe trying to do more TV stuff at ESPN?
Oh, I have every intention. I don't know whether it will be at ESPN or not. That's their choice. I'm happy to be back no matter what. If this is the role that they want me to play doing radio and .com, that's on them. I know what I am on the television side. I know what I bring to the table. The reality is that ESPN is going to survive without Stephen A. Smith. They're the worldwide leader for a reason. They've got a lot of tremendous talent on the air. And they love what I do with radio and .com, and they're very appreciative of that. But I have other television entities that are interested in me as well, and those are things that I'm exploring right now.
Print, radio, TV, they require very different skill sets.
Yes, they do.
So if you were going to give advice to a young aspiring journalist, what would you tell them to do?
Master one. Make sure that you know what you're doing in that particular area before you're willing to diversify your portfolio and venture out. There's nothing worse than being mediocre at a whole bunch of things. You want to be the best at something. And you want to establish yourself and your credentials and your reputation in a particular area. For me, it was print. I don't consider myself a great writer. Some people have called me a great writer. Some people have called me a good writer. Some people have said I suck. It's a very subjective kind of thing, and I understand that. I don't get fazed by that. What I will say is that print journalism helped me establish the foundation of being a journalist. And it is what I've been able to utilize to segue into radio and television. Radio, as great as it is, you've got to have something to talk about. And if you never report and you rely on others to do so, then you're just a mouthpiece. And no matter what people try to label me in terms of my personality, my loquacious ways, how voluminous I could be, whatever the case may be, they can't take away from the fact that I have established myself as a professional journalist for the past 2 decades. They can try all they want to. But ultimately, if you look at my resume and you put it up against other people's in this industry, I think I'd measure up pretty well.
Great. Well, in part 2 of our discussion, we're going to talk about some recent news-making events in the world of sports. This is Mediabistro.com's Media Beat.